Hello, gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Marketing Agency Exposed. How are you?
Yeah.
Good.
You guys
Ready
have,
to go.
where's your marketing agency dog?
Yeah. Office dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were calling me dog.
No, you are the dog.
Gotcha.
The big dog.
I don't like dogs.
You don't like
that's
dogs?
right.
Oh, man.
We've had this discussion.
Yeah.
We have?
Yeah.
Yes, and
I think I
don't,
blocked
don't
it out.
send me hate. Don't send me hate mail.
Do you like cats?
But your kids
I'm
want
not
a dog.
I'm just not an animal.
Okay.
I'm not an indoor animal person.
Gotcha.
I believe animals
Animals
belong
should
outside. But anyway,
Okay.
that's just me. My entire family disagrees, and they all want a dog.
Ken was born in another time.
No,
Sounds like my mom.
I just think there's something. No, it's more. I don't like. I just don't like the indoor animal thing.
We have two dogs.
I'm not saying it's wrong.
Let's talk about
Just saying I
control
don't like
issues,
it.
Ken. Let's talk about control issues.
Yeah, I do have control issues. I'm admitting that. 100%.
Speaking of control issues,
This is therapy for all of us.
It definitely is.
It really is. I'm telling you.
I absolutely have control issues.
Just so you know, I want to let you guys know I really appreciate you guys.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Same.
it's really a joy to be with you guys and hear from you. I've learned a lot, and it's fun, and I enjoy it. So
if for anyone listening, this is like for us.
is anyone listening?
Yeah, hopefully, but just for us, like not just for us, but we were having these conversations
yeah,
a long time ago, and we're like, why don't we record these for other people? But we're learning from each other here. That's the purpose, and I would just say reciprocate that.
and I go back and listen to, like, when there's challenges within our agency, I actually go, I'm gonna go back and listen to the podcast we did about that, because Ken and Bob unpacked so much knowledge. I need to glean from it and figure out.
The episode
my playbook
a few times ago where you broke down how you use AI to save you 1 hour a week.
Oh, now it's like a half hour a day.
Right? No. So it's more now. I made everyone listen to that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Did they implement those tools
Bob
and
did.
tricks?
Yeah,
Good.
Bob's tracking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is,
amazing.
the cool thing is you got to name your AI. Like, you can't use the name that they give you.
What name?
Right?
Yeah, it's good.
I don't know.
I'm gonna name.
Yeah.
No. I already.
Did you
got my
guys
name.
listen to the
I already got my
AI
name.
audio file that I sent you? Did you guys listen
Yes,
to that?
I did. That was amazing.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah. I think the challenge is that I think that this isn't the topic today, but just is within 3 years from now, things are going to be much different. And
I predict a year.
yeah, it's going to be, you're right. It's going to be faster.
So
in 3
for
years.
context, Bob, you having this AI thing where you uploaded your voice and then you can just write out and it simulates anything you write. And so it sounded like you were talking to us. Exactly. Almost.
It was exactly.
If you didn't know Bob, then it would sound like I kind of noticed there were like definitely
Right.
some like
Yeah, it was quick and dirty.
nuances to the tone that Bob does, but was your voice and it was really good.
If Bob, if you sent that to me and you just gave that to me and you wanted to tell me something, I would never know that it wasn't you saying that.
Yeah, and that technology's only been out a few months as far as that site goes. I did that on a site called 11labs.ai, and it's basically you just upload a minute's worth of your voice, and then they like process it and spit back out, and they're like, okay, we're ready. Then you just type in, but then they have some settings to where you can like adjust certain things to get it, dial it in. But 6 months from now, a year from now, you will not be able to know any difference at all.
Can you upload, like, let's say you have an actor that is a popular actor and has, you get their voice talking on an interview or something, you put it in there. Can you is that copyrightable, or I
can't imagine how they would know.
Yeah. One time I worked with Mel Gibson's brother for a while, and he sounds exactly like him. And so there's an agency in Detroit. He does voiceover work, and because he sounds just like his brother. And so I got him a gig in Detroit, and I'm like, man, if you could just duplicate like celebrity stuff or anybody's voice, and think about it, like a voiceover, all I need is a minute to hire somebody, and then I have them for in perpetuity, for lifetime. I can just create voiceovers, especially when it gets that good. But what my fear is these deep fakes are going to become even harder to tell.
Well, think about the entertainment industry. Here's something to think about, and we'll get to our topic in a minute. But think about how the longevity now of an actor with their voice, their voice AI automated, getting a copyright on it, and then deep fake. So for instance, you can have a career, because the movies are going to start doing that, right? You're going to see young Mel Gibson and young Tom Hanks again.
Yeah.
But even after they're dead and gone, their family can have a legacy income for years, because what's going to stop anyone from using their voice in AI, which is imperceptible, and then their likeness in deep fakes to create beloved actors? And maybe there'll be a resurrection of old actors that we'll start seeing that again. Maybe we'll see Clark Gable featured in a film again soon.
I know.
You know, it's interesting.
It's crazy.
I think that they're doing licensing of voice actors now. Pretty sure.
So
of your voice.
I have a friend that is actually, he's big into crypto, especially for proof of content. And so he's actually developing, he's in Dubai right now this week, because that's where there's a huge crypto conferences that in Dubai is a lot of big crypto people. And they're actually doing that where they're creating a blockchain so that it authenticates content. So that if somebody else made content, that it can be authenticated through the actual person who created it. And it's on the blockchain, and it's not, and so
for sure,
all this stuff is going to kind of converge together, I think, and it's going to happen where there's going to be protection of intellectual property and likenesses and things, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, we as marketers, we need to stay up on it and know a lot of things and bring value to our clients as a result. And speaking of bringing value to our clients, topic of the day.
Yeah, we're going to talk about how to charge anything for anything.
How to well, I think what we call it is value-based pricing.
Yeah. But
as opposed to hourly-based pricing.
Yes, but I like the way you phrased it.
Well, I've been working on this little piece for some of the people that we teach stuff to, and obviously we're in e-com, and I've just been fascinated with, as I dig into the psychology and the research and stuff like that, and just the reality behind people buying things and what people will pay. You realize that the product that you sell has nothing to do, has very little to do with the price that people will pay. The context being information, just all the stuff that you say is really what influences the price people will pay. So a good example is like if you have like a cigarette lighter, like a flip lighter, like those things are like 50 cents, $1. Okay. If you were stranded in the middle of nowhere, how much would it be worth to you? What changed? Like the product didn't change at all. Like the situation changed, right? I think in the same way, we can use, we do use, but we don't leverage it all the time. We use information to change how, like what people might pay for things, what we charge for things. Alexa's on again, isn't she? You can unplug it, Bob. And so in e-com, we do this all the time, like, and it's called brand, and it's the information, and it's the value, that you create the value. Like, people call it value stacks and all this kind of stuff, but that gap between like, what does it cost me and what is the result, right? Really, that's what you're doing. That's the value, like the cost versus the result. And so what you want to be doing, and what everyone's doing, is they're pushing those as far apart as possible, because the farther apart those are, the more, and Alex Hormozy wrote a great book called $100 Million Offers that actually goes into some of this as well. But the more you can push those apart, the closer and closer you get to an irresistible offer, right? Like, so if you can, if it costs me very little and the result is very high, like that's irresistible, right? Now, cost is not always money. Cost is sometimes time and other things. And so I think the way we get to some of this value-based pricing is by, I think for agency people, I've seen this happen so many, in my conversations with them so many times, you have to let go of like, to get kind of like Tony Robbins for a second, like you have to let go of all the limiting beliefs that you believe around pricing for agency. Like you have to let go of, well, we can't charge that because of this, or well, who would ever pay that? And this, you have to let go of that. If you can hold on to that, you'll never be able to do this.
So tell me a little bit about how when you're pitching the value cost, right, to a client, and they're looking and they're like, hey, I just need to get 3 quotes, or I need to get 3 companies that I have due diligence that I have to do. How do you pitch that? And you must, I mean, we talked about this in the past, right? As a business and as a product, you can only be the cheapest, the best, or the only.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we all kind of believe that at some level. So you must be saying we're the best, and there's a
we're the only, which means we're the best.
Yes,
right.
Yeah, you're going to be the best if you're the only.
There's a few layers to doing this, and this is just something that I'm so interested in. I pursue, and we could pursue in various ways. So I'm not a master of all these things, but I have done a lot of thinking on these, and I think there's a couple layers. Number one, I think you have to get your positioning. We talk a lot about your branding and like that kind of stuff, and like being like, what's your superpower? I think our first episode ever may have been what your go listen to that.
Yeah.
But like figuring out your superpower to get yourself in a position where, I'll say it this way, like, where someone, if they believe in your philosophy, the only choice is to choose you. Like get yourself to that position, right? Like, and that takes just kind of internal work, but like, and it's actually positioning and all those things. And so like, what's the opposite of that? Well, the opposite of that is what probably a lot of agencies do, which is just like, we're a digital agency. Everyone is, right? Like if you're a digital agency and you worked with all these like cool clients, you've got these like, I was reading a digital agency's website recently, and maybe I'm a little jaded, but it was like super cringy to me because it was just like the typical like very creative writing and like these like very passionate like value statements and core values and those kind of things, which I believe in. Like we have core values. I think those are important, but I feel like there's like a there's a lack of genuine that people can feel, and I guess I think it's jading because I think so many do the exact same thing. So when you read 5 agency websites and all 5 have like these very creative little ways of saying like who they are, and then very like
were you on
touching.
Our website?
Sorry, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying.
I was joking.
I was saying. And I wasn't on yours, no. And these very, very touching value statements, but they're just words on a website, right? And then that may be the problem is that, this is what sucks about marketing is like, one person finds something good and then everyone else copies it, right? So that was maybe they are genuine, but they don't look genuine because everyone else does it. So, I think it starts with this value-based pricing has to start with positioning, like business strategy positioning.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's also about, I don't think you can flip the switch and come out of the gate, or like Brad's asking, going from an hourly based model to all of a sudden this value-based model. I do think they're one of the biggest missing pieces of this, and you've done this well. It's something I believe in as well. And I know, Brad, we've talked about this. You've got to establish yourself as the authority, and you've got to create some sort of social proof around yourself so that people, like you said, you're positioning yourself in such a way that people go, I want to work with that agency. And then that agency goes, sorry, we don't take everybody, but if you want to work with us, here's how you get in the door. So it's not you begging for customers to come work and doing your pitch and getting in line with your RFP, which we have a whole episode on that. It's actually positioning yourself. We're the city on the hill. We're the authority. We have a unique way of doing things. And then if you want to work with us, here's what it's going to cost. Now, you have to deliver on that. But I would argue you have to establish that first.
And I think it doesn't serve us to think about ourselves all as agencies, because agency is a generic term that, I mean, it could mean insurance agency.
Right. Real estate agency.
So I think my opinion is even the term is so commoditizing and generalizing, to where, I mean, hey, it's great for me because, like, you know, if everyone talks about themselves as an agency and I can shift to that, like, I become one of the few that doesn't. Now, certainly, like, our clients, I mean, all the collective, all of us, you know, are looking for the word agency because that's what a lot of them are looking for. So you kind of have to, like, do the Tai Chi thing where you know, convert that energy into to where you want it to be. But I just think identity wise, you can't just look at yourself as an agency, because an agency has no identity. It's like saying I'm a human. Well, yes, you are.
Yeah.
Like,
I think what you're saying
500 billion.
What you're saying is one of the characteristics of companies and organizations that are value and can charge a lot of money, they've developed their own terminology, right?
Yeah.
You develop your own language. And that's, a lot of people have written about this, is establish your own category.
That's like being the only one.
That's right. Establish your own category. And that much of that is simply, like you said, mindset, but also taking your processes and putting a language around them and making them, quote, proprietary. And it's amazing how that alone is saying, you know, our process of branding or marketing or running ads, which every other, quote, agency does, but you create your own language and your category for it. Yeah. Now, all of a sudden, it stands apart and you have much bigger value.
Well, there's so many benefits to this, right? Like, so first, you know, you might feel, because I felt this a long time ago when we started doing this, that, like, if I start to say that this is my thing, then I'll lose these opportunities over here, right? And so you go to, again, like, every agency website says almost all the same things. Like, we run killer marketing campaigns. We'll make you a kick-ass website, and we'll do like these same things, right? I think even our website says a lot of that stuff, because we do a lot of those things, and we all do that. But the point is if you think about it and you say, like, well, maybe I do those things, but, like, what do I want? What's the thing that I do better than anyone else? And that sounds cliche. I'll break it down even more. Like, you know, so if you're just starting out, you may not know. Okay. But if you've been doing this for any sort of years, you know, like, there's one thing that I'm passionate about it, and I know it. I could do it in my sleep. Like, there's that one thing that may be like, you know, technology building or strategy or advertising strategy. And even inside of these things, not advertising, but like the strategy of advertising or the design of whatever. Like, you know, that there's that one thing that you as the founder is like the soul of, like, I could do that in my sleep, and I'm really good at it, and I'm passionate about it. That is the thing, I believe. Like, that's something about the uniqueness of every single person. And I think when you own a business, that is the thing to, like, be like, okay, how do I elevate that thing to be so that it can be seen as the uniqueness from outside? Mm-hmm. Because I think you can start there. It doesn't mean you can't do some of the other things. Like we say, look, we do we build a lot of websites and design them. We do a lot of marketing campaigns, and it's all for e-commerce. We do it only for direct-to-consumer companies. E-commerce actually is just like the way we say it, but, like, it's really direct-to-consumer businesses. We do all those things, but there are a billion other people that do those things. The reason you would hire us to do those things is because we do them with the lens of through the lens of, you know, 20 years of e-commerce business building experience. And so we're going to build them, you know, we're going to do them with an eye towards how do we grow a business, not how do we grow revenue for the sake of it, or not how we create something really pretty for the sake of that. It's through the lens of business. And so if you like that, then you might hire us to do those things because we do it through that lens. If you don't value that, number one, but you value something else, number one, then this company over here may be who you hire to do it through that lens. So I think if you can find that number one thing, and I think if you don't know what it is, I think starting with like who you are and what you're really good at and passionate about it can be that thing. But here's the cool thing: if you can do that, right, then you don't look like everyone else, but also everyone else doesn't look like everybody else. And if everybody did that, actually competition would be a lot easier, because like a client would come and they'd say, well, all right, well, I want this, and there's not a million people. There's like 3 people that do that actually, because I really care about this perspective. If you realize like clients probably go through the reason, probably one reason why they're so on guard is because they go through, having to sift through kind of BS, to get to who actually does the thing that they want to do, because everyone says they do everything. It's not because we're misleading, it's just because everyone does everything, but no one elevates the unique thing, or very few elevate the unique thing. And so like people have a hard time finding the person that matches them, and it wastes everybody's time. I think that's step 1. Sorry, Brad.
No. I have questions for you because you're unpacking a lot of good stuff. I guess my question is, how does a company or an agency actually find the things that would be value-based about themselves? Like, what is the process that an agency could go through to really identify, commodity business, where the real value is? And I always say a brand is a promise, right?
Yeah.
And so if you make that promise to a new client, how you have to be able to promise it and actually fulfill it, right? And so let's talk a little bit about that, about how you find it and then how you actually fulfill it. And could your value be something that you are aspiring to, but not quite haven't been doing it for 20 years? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like you're creating the value and
so.
where the direction of your company wants to go. And you might have folks inside that really believe in that value, and to how does that transition work for an agency when you're known for more commodity business?
Yeah.
And you're just selling a better same stuff, better price or something.
So I can only speak for myself, but and how we've done it, but I have worked with a few people on this. I think one thing to think about is what business are you really in? I know we talk about that. That kind of gets thrown around, but like, what does that mean? So, a lot of people sell Facebook ads. Let's use that as an example, right? Like, and so, you got to realize like, is that core to your business? So like, what business is your core? Like, what are you really in? And my suggestion is to be really intentional about that, because if you're not aware of that at a very deep level, that's how you go out of business. So, if 90% of your business is buying Facebook ads, then you're in the Facebook ad business. And if you don't realize that, you're just like, I'm doing marketing, then, then I think you're just susceptible for like all kinds of problems. But if you're aware of it, then you're like, oh no, my business is Facebook ads. I'm going to get really, really good at being the best only one at Facebook ads. And I'm also going to be aware that Facebook ads are getting constantly commoditized. AI might take over portions of it. So I'm trying to make, smart business strategy decisions to maybe I build a Facebook ad technology. Maybe I do Facebook ad consulting. Like, then you start to make decisions based on the awareness of the landscape. But if you're not aware of the business that you're in, that you're really in, then I think there's problems. So I think that's number one, is just kind of being aware of that.
There's, I watch a lot of companies that are similar to ours and what they do and how they position themselves. And there was a time where, you go to a website and they unpack, they have a special process that's unique, and that's kind of their unique value proposition. That is the reason why they would charge a value-based pricing. But I think the future is of that too is intellectual property, that you can actually prove that you have technology that's different in this space. Because let's face it, as soon as AI in the next year or so, we're going to see a lot of these platforms start to automate, and there's going to be very smart. Like running Facebook ads is literally, you're going to tell it what your brand is, and it's going to create the language, the artwork. It's going to run the ads. It's going to tell you how much you need it, and it's for the best return on investment.
There's something that got commoditized that I wouldn't even have seen coming. I just saw this yesterday. Because there's all this AI revolution stuff, right? And so like now they've taken I don't know what company it is, but you know how like databases of websites, like they have languages like MySQL and like all these different things, right? You have to write the queries in those languages. Now there's some new AI database where you just don't have to do that anymore. You just write natural language. You say like, give me the average order value of all my customers.
I sent that to
and
you.
It comes, It was with you. Okay.
Yeah.
My point is like, I didn't even see, who would have thought that like people who write database language would be susceptible to AI removing potentially or changing the way that works. And I just think you're going to start seeing more and more of that kind of stuff, right? And I think you're right, being aware of it, you know. But look, if you're aware of it, then you're aware of it, right? Like,
Yeah.
so you know how to. But if you're not, then I think, and that's why I say I think it starts there, because you would ask, how do you move to value-based pricing? I think being aware of like what your core service is and what business you're in. Like, am I in a price war, or am I in or not? You know, like, am I Walmart or am I boutique? Neither one is better than the other. It's just, you know, certain ones are better at certain times, I would say, but like, you just gotta be aware. What we do is, I would say, start with time-based and track your time, because I think that's really important. You know, the good thing about what time does is it lets you scope, and we do very, very tight scopes. Okay, so I think a vague scope is bad for everybody.
Yeah.
I think it's bad for the client, and I think it's bad for the vendor, the agency. And usually the agency is the one that really loses in that way. But look, no one, and I've said this before, like, no one wins if you don't charge enough money.
That's right.
And if you don't scope it correctly, and you don't charge, so that people don't know where the boundaries are, and you charge not enough money for what you're doing, or you do a lot for the same amount of money because you didn't scope it right, or you can't charge more when someone actually wants something that is not in the scope, again, no one wins. And so I think you have to really get a handle on, and for us, we had to get a handle on, like, okay, so what are our costs? Like, what does it actually take hourly to do these things? Let's scope, say, maximum number of hours, attached to every project. I think time-based is a safe way to do it. Once you do that more and more, then you can start to, I would say, move to a phase where you're like, okay, because time-based is a really bad trade. It's like, time for money is the worst trade in the world, some would say, right? Like, but it's not a bad one. I mean, it's good to make money, but like, it's not good to stay there, because if you're just trading time for money, obviously time is very limited, and money is essentially unlimited. So I think you have to move into value-based. And so when we move into value-based, what we do is, I stole a lot from you, Brad.
Oh, really?
Look, value-based is really saying, like, what is truly the value that I can create here? Like, for that this process, or my team, or my experience. And I'm so many agencies undersell themselves. I mean, I talk to people all the time, even internally. It's like, oh, it's going to take me 5 minutes to do that. Okay. How much money did it take you investing in yourself?
Yeah.
To get to 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Right? So if you're only selling it, I mean, what if Verizon did that?
What
if Verizon did that, right?
That's why one actor gets $20 million for a film. The other actor gets, like,
Right.
a SAG minimum of $100 a day.
There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, there's nothing wrong with charging based on value. In fact, there's something, I believe, wrong for everyone charging based on just the time, because it is a false economy.
Right.
And then it hurts everyone. The client, it hurts. It hurts the person. It just hurts everybody.
Yeah. A simple illustration of this, and we've talked about it, is when I'm managing teams and I'm helping them or consulting, like helping them getting their billings in line or helping them get up to where they need to be. One of the things that's really, really helpful, especially for people who are stuck in that kind of mindset, is to really start billing clients for things that you don't necessarily think of. So when you're listening to a podcast and you go, oh, I could use that idea, and you take it in the office and you go, hey, I was listening to this. I was like, why don't we try this for a client? Mm-hmm. You need to bill for that time because the clients and your customers are hiring you for your expertise. And your expertise, as you said, it's why a professional NFL player or Premier League soccer player gets paid hundreds of millions of dollars, because they have put in the time and effort from the time they were 4 years old to now, to devoting their life to the skills. And now they're at a level to where people will pay to sit in the stands, watch them, and pay millions of dollars in product and wear their t-shirts and build things. So in the same way, when a customer comes to you and says, I want to hire you and your people to do a certain thing, what is the real value over time that got that person there? Yeah. And what is the value that you're doing outside of, quote, working on that client time for that 5 minutes, like you said, that got you there?
Yeah, whether you bill it or you build it into, but like
exactly
the awareness of it. And I just think
it's a different mindset.
Yeah, and the unawareness of it is disserving to everybody. It's just the reality. And now some people may be like, well, that's, so you're just going to charge people more. I mean, I think, no, you just need to charge people appropriately.
And even your own mind space. Like if I spend 30 minutes thinking through something and writing it down to figure out a problem for a client, and it's, at 10 o'clock at night, I'm going to bill the client for that. And that's what you got to get into, that mindset of going, my life and my time is valuable, but also the client is paying for that expertise, not for someone to sit down in front of a computer for 30 minutes and do something.
If you don't do that, your business fails. Like, what other business doesn't, like, if other businesses were as leaky as service agencies as far as their profitability and expenses, they'd all be out of business. Now, if you're aware of it and you're like, you know what, I'm going to give that as a value add, I'm not going to, then get credit for it. Then, like, when you walk into a place and they surprise and delight you by giving you a free entree, they tell you about it.
Yeah.
So my point is like, do one or the other, but do one or the other. Like, you got to either charge appropriately, or you got to say, you know what, we didn't charge you for this because we love you and we think you're awesome and we're going to invest into you. And that can't just be because you want to. That has to be a smart business decision. That has to be like, we want to build trust and value and relationship with this. Like, there's a strategy part attached to like giving things for free. But do one or the other, I think, is a big part of that. Yeah.
I feel like for most of my career, right, you create a SOW or you estimate a project and
statement of work.
Yeah. And
not a cow.
Not a cow, but
or a pig. Is it a pig?
A sow is a pig.
Okay, sorry.
But clients always ask you to reduce the initial cost at some level. Is that an indication of just people are always going to try to challenge your cost? Like, I can probably get it 5% less or whatever. And obviously the response should be, you know what? We need enough resources to be able to do a knockout job what we want, and by lowering it won't give us enough resources to do that. So sorry, we price it appropriately from the get-go, and we're not willing to go down 5%. But does that, for me, that always feels like I'm not willing to make concessions. If I do make concessions, it's always like, well, then you're going to not get this, and this is really important to your end results. And so, which is typically the case, right? I'm not reducing my value. I'm just taking some time away that I know I can take away, but it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt the overall process. Because what I find a lot is we have clients that come to us. It's like going to a doctor and saying, "Doctor, I need a hip replacement. And the doctor's like, well, how do you know that? So it's they come with their own diagnosis, and all they're looking for is a doctor to prescribe something for them. It's like access to something that they want versus, no, we haven't diagnosed you yet. So, I mean, I think for us, it's like when they come with their self-diagnosis, we say, well, wait a second, we're experts. We've done this for years. You might be right, but we're not going to take that as face value. We have to actually do some work and discovery and look at your history and look at your, everything about it before we can make a diagnosis. And that's a value that we're bringing on because we are experts. And so I just didn't know what you did for that. Like, do you feel that sometimes your clients, you upfront so much that they just like, don't even like, they know that either I'm going to pay the price or I need to go find another a vendor.
Yeah. Like, man, there's a lot in there. I think, and it's just a lot. No, a lot in how I would love to break it down because again, just I've been pursuing this for a while. I found out, like, I think it depends on, again, I think I would say it starts with kind of what I said about what you do. Like, I think being aware of what's your kind of business model. Because some companies, there are even some, retail business, those kind of things, that their kind of like thing is like, we negotiate or whatever. Like, that's part of their brand, and most are there. That's not. But if you're going to negotiate, maybe make that part of your brand. But I would say the flip side is make that part of your brand as well, which is not negotiating price. And when I say not negotiate, I mean, here's what I've found, at least with our business, is that like, so when we build our pricing, we build it, and I just want to clarify, like, value-based pricing is not like guessing a price out of the sky. Mm-hmm. And it's not like just saying, oh, this could be $1 million, so I'm going to charge $1 million. It's not that. It's simply using information and psychology to create the awareness of all the value around the service that you have. And then for you, it allows you to charge what you need to charge, what you weren't before, to get that done. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's value-based pricing. It's not, so when we build a price, we build it from the ground up and we model it. We have a simple model, and it's based on a certain margin of cost for a certain gross margin that we need to hit. We know we need to hit a certain net profit in order to be very affluent and able to invest in all these kind of things. And so that drives our pricing model. Then that might mean, okay, we have to price over here. Well, now we look at the value equation and start figuring out, like, okay, where is the value here? Can we charge that? And, so that's kind of how that breaks out. But what I was going to say is, when we build it from the ground up, I've found that those conversations where you don't discount, if you can have them the right way, I found that they actually build more trust.
I agree.
So like, it's great when someone asks, like, well, can I get a 10% discount? Well, do you think I just added 10% for no reason in here? I didn't, right? So let me walk you through how this is. And so we do exactly the same thing. Like, if we're going to reduce so we work inside of budgets all the time, and we actually create plans for budgets. And if someone's like, the cost is too much, got to reduce it. Okay, we go to, what are we going to take out? Because otherwise, what you're really saying is, I was actually overcharging you and I thought I could get away with it. And now I'm going to like just discount it for no reason. Like, that's what you're really saying. If you don't take something out, right?
Yeah, you have to
or you're an idiot. Which one is it? Right? Yeah. Like, which one is it? Like, or you just are going to lose money, why would you do it anyway? Which would make you an idiot. So like you're either a slimy salesperson or dumb. Which one of the two is it? Yeah. The only other solution is, like, you got to take it out.
Yeah.
Right?
You also have to present what the damage would, or what the lack would be in the overall strategy if they take something out, why it's important, why it's there in the first place. Right. And I think that's the key for a lot of the stuff that we do. And, I guess, what do you do when let's just say you're working with a marketing manager of a corporation, and that's your direct client is the marketing director, let's say. And he or she is not able to, she has purse strings, and she has to go through, like, for instance, a CFO, and has to do this, and they're challenging every dollar she spends, especially in hard times. They're a lot more challenging, and she's not able to sell the value of each agency. He or she might say, I really like this company because they do this. They're really good. They have all these, they have very similar clients in our industry. They know our industry very well, but there might be another agency that has the same credentials. And so then it becomes just about price. And there's like a 40, 50% difference in the price. Do you offer your customer some ammunition to be able to sell up and be able to understand those values? Or is there things that you can give them so they can quickly present something that shows the difference?
I think talking to someone who's not the decision maker and doesn't have high influence on that is a giant risk. And I don't know, there's not always a great, Bob, you may know, like I've been found like sometimes there's not always a way to get to the decision maker with it, like in a kind relational manner. Yeah. Cause you might just sound like a jerk. Yeah. But the truth is if you value your time, I think at least the way we look at it is like you need to be talking to or aware of that, like talking to the decision maker or talking to someone who has a lot of influence on the decision maker so that they can actually, ideally they make the decision. They've been delegated the ability to make the decision because I think competing just on price, like on the, 2 pieces of paper to someone who's doesn't know anything else other than the price and what they think they're going to do is a horrible business model. And for me, I try to avoid that at any cost.
So you, first of all, you have to have a seat at the table with the decision makers.
I think you have to have their ear.
Their ear, yeah.
And hopefully you have enough opportunities. This is where I think creating rainmaking marketing and lead opportunities is really important because not every situation is going to allow you to run your playbook and do what you do best for the person because like of those type of situations, right? Where you're not talking to a decision maker. And I think in those scenarios, if you have other options, you're like, hey, look, we just may not be right for you. If we are, why don't you have, your boss or whoever's making the decision, like reach out to us, we can have a conversation or they can watch loads of our content over here and decide if they like us. And if they do, then we can move on. But otherwise, we're going to move on, aside, like that being aside, because you got to protect your time. Because and if you have more opportunities, that allows you to. If you have less opportunities, then you don't. And we all are kind of like that ebbs and flows. But I think that when you know there's like a random detached authority that's going to like throw the gavel down on based on you not even having a say and it just being some who knows whatever the price. I think that's like basically it's basically gambling with your time, right?
Yeah.
I think the key is getting in front of the right decision makers, but always seeing yourself and trying to position yourself as the obvious expert in the room. And or in the space where you're speaking to these people. I think that it goes back to the first part of this conversation is you've got to position yourself as the obvious expert every single time. Otherwise, you're going to be seen as a commodity. And that's the difference between those people, solopreneurs, agencies that thrive and are able to do value-based pricing and those who are struggling with a commoditized business and an hourly model is they don't see themselves as the obvious expert because there are experts, but then there's obvious experts. And that's probably something to discuss in another time, on another episode. But this has been really good. Thank you, Ken, for all your input.
I'd like to unpack this a little further to see like what is working Like, because I'm going to implement more. We're as an agency, everyone is seeing this, and I think the AI part is pushing us because we know that those commodities that we sell in 3 or 4 years are going to be automated. So we have to force ourselves, right, to have stronger value, and we've identified a lot of those values. It's just understanding what is actually important to our customers. Like, we know this is our value, but is it important to them? Yeah. Like, what is really the value? This is or uniqueness. We do this unique and it's valuable, but have we been able to show them why it's valuable?
And it's an exciting time in the agency life because this is going to be so relevant in the next few years because everything is going to be commoditized. And then so the companies are going to go, it's just crap out there. I want the experts. I want to pay for something of value. And the real experts in the industry, like we're talking about, are going to bubble to the top. So get on that train.
Yep. I would say there's two things I keep repeating to people here. And maybe for anyone listening, again, you have to be able to like remove your pre-notions, preconceptions of things. But like anytime, I'm not even that I want to charge this. It's just that I think it's really good thought exercise. Anytime someone says a price for something, I'm like, let's ask ourselves a question. Like, how could we charge 10 times as much for that?
I like that.
If you don't reject it.
You shoot for the stars, you hit the moon.
Just start thinking, because it makes you think, well, obviously I can't just 10x the price.
Yeah.
And price myself out. So that means I have to think, okay, well, how could this be most valuable to someone? And how could it, who? Because the person is important. Like, so to who could this be like really valuable? So we do that exercise. And then the other little hack is you have to get really good at showing them the beach, like storytelling.
Yeah.
Like, so we go deep into doing our own value analysis of, is it worth investing this? What would be the upside? We don't guarantee it because we can't. But like, what would be the upside of this? Like, if this worked really, really well, right? So we do our own value analysis because don't assume that, especially if it's the person that's like not the visionary, that they can create, like, do that visualization themselves. Like, you kind of have to really paint that picture. I learned the show them the beach thing from you, but I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Good discussion, guys.
Yeah, guys, this was great. Looking forward to hearing more.
Please like and recommend this podcast. We haven't asked you to do that in a while. And to all you audio listeners, we do have a YouTube version of this. We haven't really pushed that a whole lot lately either. So you can go to YouTube and just search up Agency Exposed podcast and find us there. All right, guys. Until next time.
All right. Bye.